Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's Better on Draft.
Hello and welcome to Better on Draft, episode 379. Today we are talking to Broken Clock Brewing Co-op. But before we do that, I am here with Wendy. Hey, Wendy, how are you? What are you drinking?
I am drinking a Ferndale Project Flight. I think it says Pattern Landing or Flight Pattern Mosaic. It is a hazy double IPA from Ferndale. I don't have my glasses today, so you have to bear with me.
Okay. It's that 50 thing.
Yeah, it's weird type.
Yeah. Well, yes. And I am drinking today. I have a Dragon's Milk Triple Mash.
That's my secondary beer.
Nice. My local had this on tap, and growlers are not that expensive, so I filled up the growler. I found this cup. I haven't seen this beer in forever. I used to live right near them, and I loved Domaine DuPage, and I haven't had it for a while. But with us today is Jeremy from Broken Clock Brewing Co-op. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I am well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking a beer that looks like whiskey, that may or may not be whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would be upset with that.
Whiskey too.
Yeah. It's sort of an old I did kind of like a fall old fashioned. So
did you add maple syrup to it? Is that what that?
No, I used amaretto, so more of an almondy sort of, and then some orange bitters and Angostura with a overproof whiskey.
Nice. That sounds like a pretty serious cocktail. Yeah,
but then the real dessert will be this. This is a Penelope Rio whiskey. That's they finish it in honey in Amburana barrels, so it's got this like cinnamon honey finish to it.
We were just talking about Amburana barrels with someone recently, and I can't remember who, and I'm kind of sad about that. But
there's so much fun to put a beer in.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. So, and Untappd has whiskey now, so you can check that in if that's your thing.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's wild. A newer thing, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, well, they should have just made a separate app, but
yes. So Jeremy, welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little about yourself? Why we would invite you on the show?
Yeah. So we're in Northeast Minneapolis. We've been in business. Well, we opened our doors in 2017, but we're a co-op, so we started raising money in 2015. I guess the fact that we're a co-op is what kind of makes us really unique in a lot of different ways. As far as myself, I was never into the beer business until I opened up this. So did a little bit of home brewing. Was really terrible at it mostly. So decided to open a brewery, and if you're terrible at something, why not start a business around it? So
yeah, go bigger.
That's
even
right.
More money into it.
That's right.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah. No, I've always sort of been a entrepreneur, so starting it wasn't actually the hard part. It was diving into the co-op aspect and really trying to figure out how to create a business around a cooperative model instead of a traditional business model. So
Can you tell us more about the cooperative model and how that works? I think most people are familiar with the traditional model of how that works.
Yeah, a lot of times when you think of co-ops, you think of like grocery stores a lot of times, or there's housing co-ops. Nowadays there's everything. There's rideshare co-ops, there's daycare co-ops. They're kind of all over the place. But for us, we're what's called a 308A cooperative, where we literally have 1,880 members, and they're all equal owners of the business. So it's kind of cool. If you were to walk in the co-op, you wouldn't really notice anything different. It operates very much just like a normal brewery. Our ownership structure is just a lot different. So Literally anyone that lives in the state of Minnesota can become a member, which is really cool. And it's a one-time fee. So for a single member, $200, and you're an equal owner of the brewery for a lifetime, and you can really choose your level of participation or adventure, if you will. You can literally run for the board of directors and serve on the board of directors and sort of guide the mission of the brewery, or you can just come in for your free weekly beer. It's kind of up to you how much you want to participate. So it's a pretty unique model. Something that has, pros and cons, I suppose. Trying to make a decision when you have 1,800 owners telling you what to do is never easy, but it is a massive community, and that's, I think, what makes it, above all, really cool to be a part of.
You said 1,800. Is that still about that much participation when decisions have to be made, or?
No, when you start collecting members in 2015, things change a lot over that amount of time. 10 years, you end up getting a lot of people that don't drink beer anymore, or they've moved away, or there's so many different things that go on in the world in a 10-year span, that you don't get that type of participation. We have, we probably have about 26% of our members active. I'd say probably maybe 5% of those are like extremely active and really sort of in the process of feedback. And a lot of them, and the rest of them are just sort of in and out once a month, once a quarter, that kind of participation. So it's really all over the board, to be honest with you.
It still sounds like pretty good engagement.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. We, when we tout our numbers at our annual co-op meetings with other co-ops, people are very impressed, but it's the beer. Let's be real. It's
great. I got one more question about that, and then pass it off to Wendy. So you talked about the different membership levels, and it sounds almost like a mug club, but when I was reading the website, it looks like it's a lot more than that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we kind of have, we sort of have two different membership levels, but each of them have a joint aspect to them if you want. So there's the single membership, which is just like one person that joins the co-op, like I described. There's a household membership, which is essentially two people within the same household. So majority of cases, it's like a spouse situation, but it could be roommates or whatever. And if you're under the same address, you save a little bit of money on your membership by going in on two. And then the other level is our brewer members. And so you can actually, and we designed this because we really love the homebrew community. And back when we started in 2015, there was not a ton of craft breweries, but there was a ton of homebrewers. And so we thought it would be a really interesting way to try and sort of bridge the gap between homebrewers and commercial brewers. And so we created a brewer membership where for $350 or $500 for a household brewer membership, you can actually sort of participate a little bit in the brewing process. So every quarter we always have a brewer member beer that we brew with our brewer members, and then we do meetups with the brewers where they can all bring their home brew, and we just sort of drink. It's kind of the theme of what we do, is we just sort of sit around and drink and talk about beer and home brewing competitions and stuff like that, and just sort of help that process. And brewers can get in on buying grain with us. We've lost a lot of homebrew shops here recently. So it's kind of really hard for homebrewers to get access to grain. It's pretty unfortunate. But our brewer members can kind of go in on our orders when we order for our commercial brews, and we just charge them the cost of the grain. So it's kind of a neat opportunity for them to jump in and get grain and do all that. So
yeah, do like recipe sharing or anything either?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We always do. So a lot of times we'll like identify a beer that we want to make for the Brewers Roundtable, and then we encourage all of the home brewers to make their own take on that beer, and bring it in, and we share. And then a lot of times we'll just sort of blindly vote on the beer that we like the best, and that's the recipe that we scale up for the homebrew beer that goes on tap.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Wendy, you can have a turn now.
So what made you decide to go with that model when you started this endeavor?
That's an awesome question. It actually, so I've always owned my own business up until when I moved back to Minnesota about, gosh, it must have been like 16 years now. Anyway, regardless, and I kind of moved very abruptly back to Minnesota and had to get a job. And so I got a job working in a hotel and very quickly realized how much I hate corporate America and like a job and that it just was like super deflating and demoralizing because I was, I quickly sort of got into a managerial role. And it was nobody ever had a voice. Like the smartest people in the hotel were the ones that were working with the guests every day. And they were the ones that had the smallest voice. They didn't have any opportunity to express ideas and things that could help. And it was just very frustrating, right? And turnover then becomes really high because nobody feels appreciated or anything like that. So anyway, long story longer, as we're I'm going through this process of frustration. I'm like expressing my frustrations with a friend of mine who also worked at the hotel, and we just decided we're like, we should just like start our own business because this is like awful. And so we found ourselves, so we knew, so really starting a co-op was the first idea. The brewery came second. And so we were kicking around any idea that we could to incorporate the cooperative model because we really felt that was the one way that we could allow all the employees to have an ownership piece, the community to actually have a say in the business, and really kind of give a voice to everyone that wants to participate in what we were putting together and what we were doing. And so we kind of found ourselves always meeting at breweries to have these like brainstorming sessions on the type of business or the actual business that we wanted to do. And then one day one of us was just like, oh, well, we should just start a brewery so we can actually get free beer instead of like spending all this money on beer. And that was literally where the idea came from was to start a brewery because we were drinking beer at other breweries. And so that was when we kind of crafted the whole idea to do that sort of model with a brewery. And then came the research part of sort of seeing what was out there because we didn't really know if that model was being used with other breweries. And when we did the research, there was only about a half a dozen in the entire country that were practicing that model. And so it took me a little bit of time to reach out to them and just see if this was something that was actually feasible. And surprisingly, they all just like opened their doors completely up to us. And they were like, come on out, work with us. We'll show you how it's done. We'll give you everything we have in our tool chest to help you succeed as a co-op brewery. And that was kind of when we were like, okay, let's go for this. Let's try it out.
It's another 7.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I think at our peak, we got up to about a dozen. I think we're back down to like 6 or so. So
COVID's been rough.
It's the beer industry has been rough for sure.
Yeah. So how does that work with like hiring and things like that? Do you have like a manager day to day that does those types of things?
Yep. So we basically have a board of directors that all the members vote on. So we have 15 seats on our board, which is too many. And then we have one racial equity chair. And so basically they sort of put this umbrella guideline. So they set the budget and sort of the bylaws for the company. And then all of that gets handed to me. And then it's my job to basically run the day-to-day operations of the business and then report back to the board on a monthly basis. So it runs a lot like a nonprofit. And then I manage the company. So I'll decide, if we have managers in one area or another and all of that. And then the hiring goes sort of the same way, depending on what it is that we're hiring for.
So it sounds like you guys did not have brewing experience. Did you hire a brewer?
We did. We had a little bit of homebrewing experience, but like I said, it was, I don't know, it was more like swill or bathtub gin or something. And that was kind of sort of the first thing we said. we were like, oh, we should probably hire a head brewer. And then it was like super random that like literally the next week we went to a happy hour and met our future first head brewer, who hadn't even had a conversation about it, but he was talking about how his dream was to open up a brewery someday. And he had won all of these homebrew awards over the past, decade. So he did a ton of brewing on the homebrew level. And so it just sort of like weirdly was a coincidence that we're like, well, I guess we should probably maybe like explore this, because it's kind of weird I'm meeting you randomly a week after we've decided. And so that was so we hired a brewer, and then once we incorporated, what we did was we had to raise money because we were called. We couldn't just go to a bank and get a loan, because they won't give co-ops loans. It's just not a thing that they do. And so we literally just made home brewing through house parties. So it was actually also a really cool way to see if this guy was any good, because people would come out, drink the beer, and if they liked it, they would sign up for a membership. And if they didn't, we would never see them.
That is a good way.
Yeah, so it's kind of secret market research, I guess.
So, and does the brewer decide what
Yeah,
beers are
so
going to go on?
we
How
give
do you
the
work that out?
brewer a ton of autonomy to sort of decide the brewing schedule and what we're going to make. The only sort of guide rails we put in place is we want to make sure that we have somebody for everybody. With 1,890 members, we just didn't think it would be, as much as I would love to be an all lager brewery, we just didn't think that was the way to go if we wanted to be inclusive to everybody that wanted to drink beer. So we just want to make sure that we have every category covered when we make the beer. So as long as we have something hoppy, something hazy, lager, and then within those guidelines, we just say, hey, whatever you want to do, just make sure we have something for everybody. So we have about 20 beers on tap, roughly.
Well, I had 9 of them when I was there, so.
Well, I have to come back and finish.
Right? Yeah, and we got there kind of late, so we were only there for like an hour and a half. They were just a delight to talk to. All of them came by and talked to us at one point or another. And it was closing time, so they were ready to go home.
Well, that's great. I'll pass that on. I know they would love to hear that feedback. So,
and I think I was looking it up, and I'm crazy, for some reason, obsessed with milkshake IPAs. And you had a Hocus Flotus on.
Yes.
And I think that might have been the one that I thought was my favorite. But I also had a Belgian Strong Ale, the French 75, which would have spoken to me. And there's so many. I was just looking, because there's so many different styles of beer that I had while I was there. So I think that's awesome that you try to keep a wide variety going.
Yeah, no, it's fun, because I love all kinds of beer after I have my first. So it's kind of nice to be able to have everything on tap.
Yeah, I like it when I go in and I can get a flight and have a little sample of a lot of different things. That way, some days I might want a stout, and other days I might want an IPA. You never know with me. So, Rob, I noticed there were some beers that you looked at.
I saw a few beers on tap that looked interesting. For one thing, you have 2 slushies, I guess, on tap or on slushy machine.
Yeah.
So is that a common thing that you guys do? And do you have like styles you put in there? Is that beer? What is in those machines?
Our staff hates the slushy machines. Just because you have to, keep them sanitary. You got to clean them out all the time. But we rotated, so we let the staff sort of decide what they want to put in it. And we usually try to do one beer slushy and one seltzer slushy. So one of them will lean towards drinking a lot more like a beer. Like right now, we have our triple berry sour inside. But when we do some more of the cocktail type beers, like the French 75 where the margarita goes up, we love putting those in there because it drinks a lot like a frozen margarita when we do that. Otherwise, we use like a 6 or 7% seltzer base, and we'll dive for them in the summer.
Yeah, that's what one of the things I have in my notes was that looks like you have a seltzer and you have flavors for aftermarket or after pouring. So do you rotate through those flavors? Do you just have a whole pile of the little squirt bottles?
Yeah, we sort of we've done a whole variety of bringing in a whole bunch of them and letting people decide, and we sort of narrowed it down to about 6 to 8 sort of kind of top sellers that we kind of keep in the rotation. It's interesting. And what else you can serve as a production brewery? The only thing we can serve is our own beer, and so we can't bring like wine or liquor or anything like that in. So a lot of times we get people that don't drink beer but still want to come, and so it's nice to have the seltzer, and we sell a ton of it because a lot of people come to drink beer, but a lot of people that are with those people don't necessarily drink beer. So the seltzer is kind of something that really kind of saves the day.
We were talking before the show that you have THC beverages, and you said they were based on the seltzer.
Yeah,
is that right?
Water and then whatever flavoring you add to it. We tend to use like a puree and
gotcha. Non-alcoholic seltzer, or yep.
So it's a non-alcoholic seltzer. So the way that it works is it's a delta 9 THC emulsion. So we can't mix alcohol and THC. So it's a basically neutral seltzer, and then the emulsion, and then whatever we're adding to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. The other ones I have written down, I have Hold the Beans and ESB at 3.2%, and I am super excited for that. Like, that's so much in my wheelhouse.
No, ESB. It was actually one of our employee beers. So anytime we get a new employee, they get to pick a beer and brew it with us. And this one was her beer. It's kind of funny. Her husband is British, and so they wanted to do an ESB because they love that style. You know, the nice, just low ABV malty, just great. It's a great style of beer. But they have this tradition over there where you put beans on toast, which is what it's a thing. Yeah. Anyway, and of course, beans, and so that's where the name for the Hold the Beans came from. Was we'll take toast, but hold the beans. It's
British food tends to look kind of goofy.
Yeah, right.
But I do love poutine. I realize that's Canadian, but not Minnesota.
Poutine is so good.
But it's goofy. And then the Pocket Watch Pecan, I was excited to see a brown. I'm always happy to see a brown ale. And I'm going to guess that there's pecan in it.
Pocket Watch Pecan is probably our number one selling seasonal. When we opened our doors, and it was literally a contest to all of the members. At that time, there was only like 200 or something like that. But we were trying to get people to submit what their feelings and thoughts were when they thought of Thanksgiving, and someone said pecan pie. And so we thought that was a pretty cool idea. So we do it's a praline pecan brown ale, and it's pretty good. And then we do some infusions off of it. So we'll do like a cinnamon version. So it'll be like a cinnamon pecan, and it's pretty good. I love it.
That sounds spectacular. It sounds like a lot of fun to have around.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, you got my attention.
Yeah.
Well, one year we did a 10% version and threw it in some barrels and let it age for a little bit. So that was pretty fun too.
That is actually one of the questions in my notes that I wanted to ask you about was, do you have a barrel program? And it sounds like you do.
We do. We do. We love barrels. So we do our traditional whiskey barrels, and we do that our Imperial Stout release every year. But we also love to do the brewers hate me because I'm like obsessed with cocktails and doing like really weird and obscure things. So our barrel brokers love me because anytime they get something weird that they don't know what to do with, they'll call me and be like, "Hey, I've got this rum barrel that was in Trinidad and Tobago and then was previously used for an Irish whiskey and then brought back, and then we aged coffee beans in it. You think you could do something with that?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, send it over.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out." So for a long time we've always done these really cool kind of cocktail series beers. So we'll get like rum barrels and we'll do like a rum punch, or we'll get gin barrels and do like a French 75 or a blackberry and peppercorn saison, and age it in that. So we love messing around with barrels and doing cool things with them.
I don't think it was barreled, but I do Moscow mules and backyard mules and like all sorts of wonderful things. My wife really liked them, so we were always searching them out. That's why I remember it so much. But that fits into the cocktail theme.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
mule.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ginger beer is right up my alley.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of all that stuff, really. So what you talked a little bit at the beginning about being a part of the community. What types of things do you do in your community?
So the greatest thing about being a co-op is the fact that we get to spend all of our profits in the community. We don't have one or two owners that we have to satisfy and kind of adhere to that. We really get to spend as much as we make in the community. So we actually have a seat on our neighborhood's board. So in Minneapolis, each of the neighborhoods get funding from the city for community programming, and so they're run as a nonprofit, and so we have a seat on that board. So what's cool is we have the ability to kind of sit in on those board meetings and listen to different things that the community needs and the community wants, and that's where we spend a lot of our time. We also spend a lot of resources on local charities. So My Very Own Bed is a really big one that we work with, and they're an organization that builds and donates beds to children that don't have beds. So we always do these really cool drives where people come in and they donate stuffed animals and bedding and all this stuff, and then we go out to the facility and we like have competitions to build beds and see who can build them the fastest, and then we deliver them. And then we do a ton of stuff with Habitat for Humanity. We have a program called The House That Beer Built, and it's literally all of the breweries come together to build a house. Basically, we sort of challenge everyone to come in and help us build this house, and then Habitat for Humanity takes it over and gives it to a family and all that stuff. So we tend to do a lot of stuff. And then, of course, our location is on the Mississippi River, and one of our core pillars is environmental sustainability. So we spend a lot of time with the Mississippi Watershed and Friends of the Mississippi, which is a nonprofit organization that helps to clean up and restore the river. And so we spend a lot of time in the spring and the fall kind of getting rid of invasive species and replanting natives and kind of restoring the shoreline along the Mississippi, because it's been pretty damaged over the years. I'm sure you can imagine when big industrial came through, the Mississippi was a huge corridor for industrial, and so they kind of just treated it like crap. And so we're trying to work on really bringing all of that back, and getting rid of all of the industrial that sits on the river there. So yeah, so we love spending time in the community. It's a lot of fun. So
Oh, sorry.
I just had a thought totally leave my head. I'm sorry. So I absolutely love all of that stuff. What is it like when we visit your tap room? Can you kind of walk us through it a little bit? Give us the insight on how it feels when you walk in.
Yeah. So I'll go back to the beginning. I tend to do that. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm just whatever. Stop me if I'm ever too long-winded.
Nope.
So when we were building the tap room, we wanted to make sure that we took into consideration all of the feedback from the members. And so when you walk into the tap room, what you're actually seeing is what the majority of all the members wanted to see. And so there's a lot of very different things inside. So when you walk in, you'll see a huge row of pinball machines. So many pinball machines that it's become so popular that we're sponsored by Stern. And Stern spends marketing money to promote our tournaments. But people wanted to see gaming, and so we have a ton of pinball machines. You'll see a whole bunch of different tables. So you'll see 4-top tables, you'll see 6-top, and you'll see 12-person tables because people wanted a variety of seating for anywhere from 2 people up to their whole family coming in. And then they also wanted to see comfortable seating. So we actually have like these vignettes where there's couches and chairs. And so it's more of a kind of like a living room type setting. And it's a little more comfortable in that regard. And then we have a kids area. So like we have so many families that come, and you know, I know we didn't want to get political, but kids in tap rooms are very political.
Yeah.
So
That's the kind of politics we get into a lot.
Yeah.
It's a little polarizing sometimes.
But we have a ton of families, and they really wanted to feel like they were also welcome. And so we created a little kids space. So when people are there with their kids, because they're going to be there inevitably, unless you say no kids, like it's an area for them to kind of hang out. And what's kind of nice is if you don't want to be around the kids, it's a 6,000 square foot tap room. So you can be on the opposite end and sort of be away from it too.
A kid containment area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a very eclectic. There's a ton of different spacing going on when you walk in. The building itself really lended itself to a mid-century modern theme. So like when you walk in, that's sort of the theme of all the furniture is it's mid-century modern. If you're into that type of stuff. When my wife told me that's what we were going with, I was like, what? Okay.
Okay.
Whatever that means.
That decision was made, and that's good.
Yeah. And then we have kind of a big parking lot out in the back that also dubs as a patio in the summer, and it sits on the river, which is really cool. We literally are one of the only breweries that sits directly on the Mississippi River. And we're hoping we're the city and the county and all of these people want us to continue to activate the river by putting in a deck that overlooks the river in a boat, an area where you can park your boats and come on up and all that fun stuff. But when you do any work on the river, you have to involve a lot of different entities, from the state to the city to the county, and actually the feds with the DNR, because the DNR handles that portion of the river. So anytime you touch the water, they have to get involved. So it's like this huge process, and we have these massive dreams to get this river deck built, but it's taking, it's going to be like a 5-6 year process in order to get the approval to even be able to do it. So and then we have a really cool, I don't know if Wendy, if you got a chance to see our event space, but we have a really, really cool vinyl lounge in the back of the brewery. It's a separate event space that we rent out, and it's literally just a really cool vinyl lounge with vinyl records everywhere and turntables, and it's kind of just something that selfishly that was my idea, and I said this is what we're doing because I love to listen to records and just hang out. So
yeah, I'm sure you could find enough members to support that.
Yeah, it's been, anytime someone goes back there, they're like, oh, this is the coolest thing. I'm like, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
I saw that there is currently, and you had mentioned it briefly, but there's currently a stuffed animal drive going on.
Yeah, my very own bed. So we're doing a stuffed animal drive. So oddly enough, every year the one thing that they always seem to be short on is stuffed animals. Because when you put these kits together for the kids, it comes with that not only do they get the bed, but they get this like welcome kit that has like sheets and a book and a stuffed animal and a pillow and all this stuff. And the thing that they always seem to be short on is stuffed animals. So we always find ourselves doing stuffed animal drives. So you come in and donate a stuffed animal and get a free 10-ounce beer. So
Yeah, that's not too bad.
I think it's a good deal. So,
It's a great deal.
Yeah. My mom still does. She makes quilts for kids.
Oh, that's
She
awesome.
just churns them out like a factory for kids who are in hospital, and yeah, they get quilts.
That's a whole community. There's a whole quilting world out there.
Yeah.
There is knitting too.
Knitting is.
I have
oh
a
my
friend
gosh.
that's made like 600 hats so far this year, winter hats for people to donate.
It's kind of funny if you come into. So we have a coffee shop too. So if you come into the coffee shop Monday mornings, you'll see like a group of like 20 people knitting, and it's like this knitting club that just meets at the brewery every Monday morning. It's like the weirdest thing. I mean, it's awesome, but it's like what is going on? There's like people knitting.
Some of my
I need
friends,
to find one of those so
some
that
of
I
my
can
friends
learn.
freaked out when I pulled my knitting out at the bar a few weeks back. I was getting low on dishcloths, and that's the only thing I can knit. And sitting at a bar is kind of a good time to do it.
Wait, you knit too?
I do knit.
There you go. Oh well, if you ever come to Minnesota, you can come
Yeah.
knit on Monday mornings with the rest of them.
That sounds great. I feel guilty now that I don't knit things for kids, but I need dishcloths
Right? If
too.
you can do a dishcloth, you can do a quilt.
I can, yeah, or I could knit a hat.
It's just several dishcloths put together.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I had a friend whose mom made me a quilt like that, and it was literally just squares that she had sewn together.
Nice.
Those are popular. We do so one of the organizations we work with is the local food shelf here, and every year we do a beer festival to raise money for the food shelf. And there's a person that makes a quilt, and what they do is they get a T-shirt from every brewery, and they make a quilt out of all the T-shirts. And it is far and away the number one bid on thing every single year. There'll be like trips to Cancun, and people will be spending more money bidding on this quilt than these trips to Cancun. So
I believe it.
Yeah.
I have a box of shirts. So one of my biggest pet peeves is that breweries buy clothes for people who can't wear their shirts. Like everywhere you go, they have super small shirts. Everything runs small. If it's a women's shirt, it's a small. It drives me insane. Even the smalls are small. Even I have an extra large that really should be like an extra small. So that's one of my my hot spot items. I have a box of shirts that I have bought or received from breweries that don't fit. And I always say that one day I'm going to turn them into a quilt.
there you go.
My kids were swimmers, and it is tradition to take all of these swim meet T-shirts that you collect over the years, and when you're a senior, you make them into the quilt. The kids make them into their own quilt. It is a swimming tradition, probably a tradition in other sports too, but that's the one I experienced it in. So there is a long history there, long tradition of doing that.
Yes.
I saw some other things that were interesting that are hosted in your tap room. It sounds like you were fairly involved in the tap room in the space, as founder and operator. There, sometimes people aren't, as familiar with certain areas, but so it's okay if. But I saw that you do events for animal rescue.
Yes. People our customers are obsessed with dogs. And in fact, I think we love dogs more than people. I'm almost certain that's the case.
Fair enough.
Where we are. And so we do a ton of different dog things, ton of different dog events. We do every summer, we do a music festival where we close down the parking lot, bring in a big stage, and kind of do the whole shebang. and we do that with an animal rescue organization. Yeah, we love our dogs. We do photos with Santa and dog costume contests. Like literally, there's so many things around dogs. And when we were looking at bringing in food, we're literally shaping how we do our food program on how we can do it while still allowing dogs. So we're literally looking at buying our own food truck, even though we have the ability to have food in a kitchen within our space, but we wouldn't be able to have dogs. So we're looking at building a food truck outside of the building so that we can have food and still allow dogs. That's how much we love dogs. And cats and one ferret. We get one ferret that comes in on a leash every once in a while. So
Do you have cats that come in on a leash?
we do have some people that bring in cats on a leash.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love you guys even more now.
I've seen people with birds, and I've seen one rabbit at a brewery where the guy had it just up on the bar top on a towel, and the rabbit just sat there. It was pretty happy. Dogs wandering around behind it.
Just like
My friend-
yeah.
I had a friend used to take her lizard.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, it was a big one. I don't know exactly what kind, so it probably isn't a lizard, but
Yeah, they had a great big boa constrictor at Metazoa once when I was there, and
Oh my gosh,
guys I was with got to hold it.
that's so crazy.
That one wasn't a pet though. That was for an event. You know, they brought in, snakes. I don't know why. I don't know why.
He brought in it, yeah. How do
because
you
they're
bring
cool.
Well, yes, okay, they are definitely cool, and that was definitely awesome. I'm sure it was for an animal thing. That's what Metazoa does. Is for animal charities.
I feel like it'd be hard to put your snake in a seatbelt. Like, how do you
That's right.
How do you tell your snake to buckle up? Because he's
Gotta
basically
split out.
like a seatbelt. Yeah.
Well, they'd have to bring him in a carrier, right?
Yeah, probably.
I would. Now I'm
Probably.
honestly thinking about it. That's not. It was supposed to be a joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, wait.
I have to call out that you have cribbage night because I'm from Indiana and Wendy's from Michigan, and we would have euchre nights, but you're in Minnesota, so you have cribbage night. So I have to call that
Cribbage. Oh my gosh. So I don't know how to play cribbage. And anytime I admit that, people want to expel me from the state.
one. Right? It's important.
Seriously. People take their cribbage so seriously here. Yeah, we do cribbage tournaments every third Saturday. And so many people show up and they bring their own custom cribbage boards, and we do these Christmas markets, and the number one selling product are these cribbage boards. Like Minnesotans are absolutely obsessed with cribbage. And I don't know why I never got into it, because I spent my summers up at my grandparents' cabin where they did nothing but play cribbage. I just never played and never learned how, and I'm like paying for it now.
Yeah. It's not hard to learn. And then when you play with someone who knows it well and they keep beating you, well, it depends on who they are. They may tell you why you're not doing well. Like you need to get the 4, 5, 5, 6 and things like that.
Yeah, that's probably why I quit playing. Was nobody taught me how to win.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it. And I am reminded of that every time I play with my friend who grew up on the Minnesota-Wisconsin border, and he just destroys me.
Yeah,
I think
it's
I've
crazy.
only played like once.
It's it is a fun game. Minnesota is onto something, but it is also one with a skill.
It is a great game, but yeah. But I think I would love it more if people weren't so obsessed with it. It's I'm telling you, like, no child is born in the hospital unless they get spanked by a cribbage board. Like, that's how they know that you're like a Minnesota child. Like, it is. I'm telling you, it is like everybody knows how to play cribbage. And
some families have Bibles that they pass down, and Minnesota has a cribbage board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel the
Signed
same
by
way
every
here
family
about
member.
euchre, though.
Euchre, though, that game is pretty much set as soon as the cards are dealt. Like, it's going to go one way.
I understand that, but people are very serious about it. Like, I remember playing at the, I don't know, the Knights or the Eagles or something like that, where they would, like, I would set my card down and they'd be like, okay, play this card next. And I'm like, how do you know that's in my hand?
Right.
But so we actually played on the ship for the first time. I played for the first time in probably 10 years, but we had 4 of us. So that's what we played on the ship.
That's what you play. Games go quick, and you know how they're going to go.
So is euchre like similar to cribbage?
No,
No.
no, it's just cards. It's you only play with what is it, 9s through aces, and yeah, it's a trick taking game rather than a counting game.
Ah,
Yeah, and I think that you need to learn it if you're going to live in Indiana or Michigan. There's a couple other states. I think Illinois it's big into.
Well, hearts or spades were big too. I felt like it was like a thing that you graduated to as you went through the, like, middle school we played hearts, high school we played spades. As adults, we just always played euchre.
Yeah.
this makes a lot of sense because I love playing hearts and I feel like I've never advanced in life beyond middle school. So it's like all coming together now.
It's perfect. Hearts is a good game. It is a lot of fun. And there's plenty of variations on it, like with the Jack of Spades or Jack of Diamonds. I don't remember how that one works. And yeah. Cards you want, cards you don't want.
Yeah, I don't think I played either of those since like middle school and high school.
I do. So to get back to the topic at hand,
Sorry.
We get sidetracked easy too.
I was very interested in the happy hour support group.
Yes. Mental health is such a stigma still. But yeah, we started doing that really kind of around COVID. It was, I don't know what your state was like when the shutdown, but we were like most states, couldn't congregate, couldn't come together, couldn't do a lot of things. So the brewery was closed with the exception of some takeout stuff. You could come by and pick up takeout from your car and all that. And so we were doing like hangout groups on Zoom. And so it was just like, 30 or 40 people on a Zoom call, just hanging out, doing kind of what we're doing tonight, I guess, really.
Yeah, right.
And then, from that, we just started like really sort of hearing stories of like other people that just weren't really doing super well and, kind of struggling with the pandemic and kind of that isolation piece, because everyone handles it differently. And so there was a brewery out of, I want to say Chicago, maybe. Man, I wish I could think of who it was, but they did a collaboration beer for all the beers called Things We Don't Say, and it was around mental health. And so it was a collaboration beer that everyone could do, and then you got to choose an organization that you worked with. And so what we ended up doing was, from that, we just sort of kind of kept it going ourselves. And one of the pieces that we incorporated with it was the kind of happy hour support hangout, in which there's no programming around it. There's no expectation or anything. It's just sort of an opportunity that once a month you can just kind of come and hang out and talk or don't talk, but just kind of be around people, with the idea that like mental health is and always will be a struggle, and it's like cool, like you're in a safe spot. It's cool. Whatever, talk or don't talk, but just know that we're here.
Yeah, nice. I would go to that.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's
Yeah. Possibly lighter. I saw something about the Urban Bird Collective.
this is a
Which
new
got my
thing.
attention.
Yeah, this is a new thing. So it was so funny when they first approached us. They actually approached us because it was like a referral from another nonprofit that we had done something with, and they were looking for someone to partner with on someone, and they kind of reached out to us and we're like, oh yeah, this sounds really cool. We don't know anything about bird watching, but this is cool. And so we they were talking about coming in and making a beer with us, and our head brewer Sean, he's like, well, it's just so you know, it's really boring, right? Like you can come, like they're like, what time should we come? And we're like, oh, come about 10 o'clock, because that's kind of when all the action happens, right? Because most of the time
Watching the
brewing
water
beer is
boil.
actually, yeah, it's pretty boring. And they're like, and he's like, how long do you want to come and be there? And they're like, well, we'll be there. We can be there the whole time. And he's like, well, I'll be honest, it's really boring. I don't know if you're gonna have very much fun. And the lady, without hesitating, she's like, we're bird watchers. Trust me, we get it. So yeah, they're just like a collective of bird watching enthusiasts that are trying to grow their network. And we're like, I mean, we'll partner with anyone almost.
It's true. I was at Ashton Elm here in Indianapolis, which is a cidery downtown. Quite like their cider. So if you're into it in Indianapolis, I can strongly recommend it. But we were there for a birthday lunch, and somebody set down their bird watching placard thing on the table near us. And apparently he does every 3 months. He does a bird watching tour. I can't remember. It's like Feathers and Pints or something. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, wow.
I'll have to look it up because I've mentioned it on the show before. But they start at the cidery because he's like the brother of the owner or something like that. And so they get some cider there. They learn about birds. And then they get in beer buses, go to wherever they're going to watch birds. This time it was April, and the weather was February. The weather was kind of cold. So they went to one of the parks has a nice ornithology center. They went there, and then they took the bus to a brewery, a relatively new one, just south of there, and then back to the cidery. So that was kind of that's their thing. They do that, or they walk trails if the weather's nicer. Go look at birds, and he guides them through it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure I will do it at some point.
Yeah, we used to have a bald eagle's nest in our back of the brewery, and so you got to see them, kind of twice a day. Because if you know anything about bald eagles, they're pretty lazy animals. But twice a day you'll get to see them fly, and so people would just like sit out there and wait for them to take flight for the one time for the day or whatever it was.
That's right.
Oh, you could have done that as a fundraiser. You could have put a camera on it.
I know, that would have been such a great idea.
Yeah.
Damn, maybe they'll come back.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's hard. Is the nest still there?
The nest is not there.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's hard to build those kind of nests.
They're huge.
They're big.
They're big.
I'm a huge fan of bird watching. That's one of my friend says that I'm starting to get old lady habits because I can and I bird watch, and I'm not really a birder. Like, I'm not hiking through the forest looking for birds, but I do plant stuff in my yard and bring out specific bird feed to try and entice birds to my yard.
I did recently send my friend a video of the large woodpecker. That's what I sent it to him as. I said, look, I saw the large woodpecker on a tree. I guess it's the pileated one, because there's also the downy, which is the little one. And it's just little and it's cute or whatever. But the large one, those things are big.
Yeah.
He's like, what did I get into?
Right. I thought this was a beer thing.
Let's go back to the beer. What beer are you looking forward to brewing next?
That's right.
It's actually a woodpecker beer. We call it pileated.
That's perfect. It'd be even better if I knew what pileated actually meant.
Yeah. Right? I don't know either.
It's something to do with coloring, but I don't know. You showed off your can of your THC beverage, and it had art on it. And so I would like to ask about can art.
Yeah. So my wife actually does the majority of the can art for the brewery. We always tend to put her in a really tough spot, because we'll come up with a beer style and sometimes a beer name, and usually none of it makes sense. And so we then give it to her and say, hey, we're doing this type of beer and this is the name. but there's no guidance. And so she'll be like, well, is there any guidance? Is there any, like, what were you thinking when you came up with this name? Most of the time we're like, I don't know. We had already had 3 beers. And we're like, I don't know. It's just this. And so then she has to just like figure it out. And so it's always like, here's what we got. And depending on what was in people's heads, they either were like, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. Or they're like, whoa, that's different.
Yeah.
And we just sort of go from there. But yeah, she does the majority of the artwork for the brewery. Sometimes when we do collabs with other organizations, they'll have an art department and people that like to do it. Specifically, a lot of like the nonprofits, they'll do it, and it's kind of a unique way for them to show off. Then that they look, I made this logo for this beer can. Check it out, this label, But for the most part, we actually, when we started the co-op, we actually originally had this idea of letting our members that were different members that were artists do all of the artwork. And so every piece of every label would be different. And I think that lasted about like 3 or 4 beers when it just became like super hard for people to stick to deadlines, and then getting files in a format that would actually work instead of like a hand painted drawing saying here. Right. Like, what? I don't know how to do
what
this.
I made for you.
How do I scan this in?
Yeah. So we learned very quickly that wasn't going to work the way that we wanted it to.
But so if you could scan that in, it would work really well as artwork on the wall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My gosh. And it did for a while. We actually, going way back before we even had labels and cans and all that, we used to literally just give people a canvas and they would paint the artwork on that canvas, and then we would just put that up on the wall as the beer that it was. Of course, we only had like 5 beers at a time, so it was very easy to do that. But yeah, that's how we originally did it.
I'm going to Gary McCray in the chat had 3 questions, but I'm going to jump to the last one because I quite enjoy it, and it's leading into the end of the show anyway. But he's asking, in your vinyl room, what are you spinning?
Oh man, that is the greatest question we've gotten all night. So I am a huge fan of jam bands, funk and soul. So you will almost always find something like that. So Grateful Dead is playing a lot, Buffalo 72 or something like that. I love Dave Matthews Band. I have every album. But I also love funk and soul and like old school hip hop. So like, Public Enemy, Chuck D, DJ Kool Herc, stuff like that. Like kind of way back in that kind of hip hop. And then like funk. Like we just went to Galactic last night, and haven't seen them in forever. So that's typically what's spinning. If I'm working, I'll throw on some jazz. I have a ton of jazz, so like kind of a lot of the Blue Note jazz stuff is also spinning quite often.
Nice. Gary appreciates the answer. I will. That one.
I had to laugh when you mentioned Dave Matthews Band because I have a friend that is a huge Dave Matthews fanatic, and I told him he's a jam band, and he goes, "No."
Oh.
And like 2 weeks later, he's like, "You ruined my life. I listened all the way home from Indianapolis, and he's a jam band." I'm like, "It's okay. Like you can like that.
You can still like them.
You can still like them."
Yeah.
Speaking of funk, though, have you ever heard of the band called Pimps of Joy Time?
No, but it sounds amazing.
Look them up.
Pimps
Seriously,
of Joy Time. Okay.
One of the best bands I have ever seen live. I first saw them at a festival, and then I have gone to see them at a couple of different breweries when they come through Michigan. But they're amazing. I absolutely love them. You should check them out.
I'm going to. I love it. Thank you. That's a great recommendation.
Sounds good. We are getting into the final minute. We're past the final minute, but we're into the end of this show where we tend to ask questions not beer related because we were totally on topic this whole episode.
Oh, this was supposed to be about beer. Sorry.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask my standard question of what was the last board game or card game, we know it was a cribbage, that you played? Did you win?
Ooh. Utter nonsense, I think, was the last. So it's like it's kind of like a Cards Against Humanity, but you just use accents.
Okay. I was thinking of a different game. I was thinking of the one where you sound out things and people have to guess what you're actually saying.
Oh, that sounds cool.
But yours
Too.
said, I can't remember the name of that game though.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Wendy, you're on mute.
I don't have a game, but I just saw one come through on TikTok the other day that is kind of like Cards of Humanity, only it's with texts, and it's called New Phone Who Dis. And you're supposed to like mix and match the text messages together like you do with Cards Against Humanity. So I did just purchase that to see how it goes.
The Oatmeal has one called, I think it's Bad Therapist, I think is the name of it. It's something like that. And you play the complaint card, you play the therapist question card, and then you play the solution card.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hitster's another one. Hitster's another cool game too. It's all music based.
Oh.
So it like hooks up with Spotify and plays like clips of music, and you put it in chronological order, and it's a pretty cool game.
Interesting. That sounds a little more difficult than the Singo that's going around. The music bingo, I think, is the knowledge game. Yes. Wendy, your turn.
So I'm going to circle mine back to beer. If I'm coming to visit your brewery for the first time this week, what beer should I get?
The slow pour Pilsner. Yeah, that's what I say. So we do a handful of lagers, and one of them is on our side pull. It's actually a northern German lager that we collaborated with a German bread house that's in our building with us. And we put that one on our slow pour line, and I think it's pretty awesome. It's well worth the 6-minute wait.
I do like a slow pour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Wendy, I think that counts as an off-topic question for this one.
Right.
Jeremy, do you have anything coming up that you would like to promote or plug?
Oh, wow. So our really good friends at Fletcher's Ice Cream, it's an ice cream shop right close to us, were just vandalized and victims of LGBTQIA hate. They threw a couple of Molotov cocktails through the window. And so we collaborated with them to do a really awesome ice cream and beer collab where we made a beer and then we used that beer to make an ice cream with them. And so next Friday, we're releasing it. It's called Milk and Cookies. And so for $30, you get a 4-pack of beer and a pint of ice cream. And then we donate proceeds to organizations in the LGBTQIA plus community. So that's really cool. We got coming up, and they make the best ice cream. And if you ever go into like those nice ice cream shops that like smells like waffles and ice cream, it's like the best smell on the planet besides brew day.
Yeah. Man, that malt.
So that's coming up. So that's a pretty cool thing, and a great way to help show support for people that suck and do stupid stuff, and
Yeah, that's good cause to support a sucky reason to have to do it.
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
One quick
Wendy.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't really have anything to promote, but I do have one quick question. Do you guys distribute your beer anywhere, or do you have to go to the brewery to get it?
We have distribution in Minnesota. We're pretty much Minneapolis. We have a couple accounts up towards the Brainerd Baxter area, which is about 3 hours north of us. We're pretty much primarily in the Twin Cities for distribution, and we do in-state only. We're a pretty small brewery, so we don't really produce enough to justify getting a federal license to go across state lines and stuff like that. It also, as a co-op, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to necessarily do it. So, but we do have limited distribution in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, that next state over is Wisconsin, and that's a tough one to penetrate.
It is.
Yeah.
Beer.
Yeah. They do like their beer though.
They do like their beer.
I will say I have been to Broken Clock, and if you get the chance to go, I would highly suggest visiting. It was an amazing time. The beer was delicious, and we had a really great time.
Well,
Excellent.
thank you. That's awesome. That's very much appreciated.
I don't have anything to promote myself, but coming up on the 28th, we are talking about, this is a little interesting. We're talking to an author, a beer author. The Carmen Galliano Club books is what I have written down, and I hope that is the right way to say that. But we will be talking to the author of those books. They are Prohibition era fictionalized novels about the beer industry. So we'll see where that one goes. But I'm quite interested. I'm excited for that show. That I think is all that we have got for tonight. And so we will end our show like we end every show and say, whatever you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft.
Cheers.
Have a good night.
Thank you.